Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your warm welcome. Warm welcome means applause. Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Steven Gätjen, and we have gathered here today to greet and especially salute one of the finest people walking on this planet. And the great thing is, he's not only a fantastic human being, but also one of the best actors that we have today. He's going to present his movie later on today at the Zurich Film Festival called The Promised Land, and he will receive a Golden Eye Award as well. And the great thing is, The Promised Land is also the competition, the Danish contestant for the Academy Awards in 2024. I know that we've all gathered here because you're huge fans of the person who's going to be on stage in a second, and I think every single one of you has a favorite movie of his or a favorite character that he has done, and especially a favorite character trait. And what I love about him is his easiness and the charm that he brings to every single character that he portrays. I mean, he can do funny, he can do smart, he can do evil, he can do cool, he can do heroic, badass, dangerous, charming, hurt, with a few words and with lots of dialogue. And I think every character you can see a glimpse of Mads Mikkelsen in a good way. So please, ladies and gentlemen, he is a true word star. Greet the man, the myth, the legend, Mads Mikkelsen! There's just one button to push up. You got it?
Oh, the other one? That one.
Exactly. I think there should be only one. Yeah, it works.
Got it. Hey, great. The pressure is on. I'm not sure you will find this character super charming that I'm doing here.
But he has a little bit of Mads in it.
Oh yeah,
in a good
everything
way.
has a little bit of me. It's impossible not to. It's one of the things. I mean, it's always that discussion, right? I try to find something I recognize in the character within myself. Sometimes it's this much, sometimes it's much more than that. But then I focus on that, and then I throw predominantly all my own qualities as a person away and make that the sole thing for this character. And eventually it will become someone else than me, but recognizable.
Let's really quickly talk about your character in The Promised Land. It's Ludwig van Kalen.
Ludwig van Kalen.
And the interesting bit is he is probably one of the most stubborn people in the whole world. And you just said it, he doesn't have a lot of your character traits, but if you portray someone like him, how often does it get on your nerves that you see his decision making, in a sense he goes right, but he should go left? Is that something that is in a way kind of draining?
It is super frustrating. It's but that's the whole idea with when you do a character. You have to a degree be smarter than the character, and that can often makes you frustrated. But that's the plan. We know on page 86 he will finally go left, but we have to wait for it. And before that, we might get a little confused, a little frustrated, and we want to do it earlier, but then we have to look at each other and agree, remember, it's happening on page 86. So that can be quite frustrating, and this guy was definitely frustrating to be around.
All the time.
Yeah.
Mads, it's really interesting because this is your second work with the director. 11 years ago, you did a movie with him. And if I look at your career, I know this is like, it's like a bed.
Yeah.
It's not really.
It's super relaxed.
I know. Don't fall asleep though. I'm gonna try to keep you awake.
What was the question?
Mads, stay with me. Stay with me. No, but looking at your career, it's really interesting to see that you have a couple of directors that you love to work with.
Yeah.
I mean, Thomas Vinterberg twice, Nicolas Winding Refn twice, and
4 times.
4 times. Okay, 4 times. Anders Thomas Jensen 5 times.
You got it.
You know, looking at the directors, most of them are European or Danish.
Right.
What makes it so special for you to go back and work with them?
I've answered this before in a different way, but I kind of changed my mind, because is it important that you go back, was the question, obviously. And I was like, I don't know if it's important, it's just it happened to be where I go because I get offered something I find interesting and blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure that's true. I think I need to go back. It's my friends, it's my stories, it's my language, and it makes it a different journey, definitely. And so I think I have the urge always to come back. Yeah.
Do you feel more comfortable?
I don't know if it's comfortable. Yes, part of it is more comfortable, but that's something you have to be very careful about, not making it as so comfortable that it just becomes the same drawer you pull out. We like it if we are so comfortable with each other that we can push each other a little extra this time, a little further. That's the main goal of feeling comfortable.
With the experience that you've brought to movies and series, is there something that you would call like stage fright right before the first day of shooting, even though you work with someone that you've worked with? Is there still like the same sense that you've had decades ago when you did your first movie, Pusher?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're not freezing up, like you can't move. I mean, that's a different thing than when you go in on a theater stage, because it's just a different world, right? We have a better chance of calming things down and make it our own little room when we do films. But you're always nervous. It's like the first couple of days will define what this character is. And if you get it wrong, you rarely go back and fix it, right? So you gotta figure out now, who is he? How does he walk? How does he talk? What's the energy in this character, right? But then luckily we are more than one person to look at it, so we will go back and forth and try things out, and then we make a decision.
You just mentioned theater. The great thing about theater work is probably that you can, adjust your character in the way that you act from, day to day. With the movie, at some point, it's just finished, and then you can't really go back. Is that something that you...
This is true. I mean, in the movie world, when I'm done with my job, somebody else takes it and play God, and they start editing me, right? When in theater, when the director leaves us, we're the gods. We edit, we decide, and then if you're a smart director, you come back in 14 days and figure out what's going on here, guys. Come on. But that's true. So it's a different process. I mean, it's the same work, but we at theater play will change through a period. It will die out, and then we'll have a peak, and we come up with something else. So it's a different journey, definitely.
Do you enjoy it more, jumping back and forth between series, movies, and theaters? Is that something
I haven't done theater for, I can't remember, maybe 20 years.
And are you?
So I enjoy not doing that.
Okay, you enjoy not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of loved theater. It is magical when it happens in the room, and there was these people. Nobody will ever feel that. Next day might be completely different. I did love it, but it's also a brutal thing if you're in a play that's not really working that well, and the audience know that, and they're agreeing with you, it's not really working, and you have to do it 90 times. There's only this much you can make it better, right? So I was like, and also like you're waiting until it's 8 o'clock in the evening, your entire day is focused on that. So I think I'm more in love with filmmaking.
And I think everyone in the audience is in love with you. Just to let you know, we're going to talk for about 30 minutes, and then you will have the chance to ask questions to Mads. Please do me one favor, introduce yourself, ask only one question, and if you want to pitch a script, don't do it now.
That's true. And one more rule, it has to be in Danish. Good luck, guys.
Yeah. Now we're coming to the second part of our interview.
Yeah.
Mads, I know that you speak German, so we're going to do the rest.
Do I? No, I don't. Weil ich trinken, ja.
Sehr gut. Mads, yesterday was the official worldwide James Bond day.
All right. But why are you looking at me? I'm not James Bond.
No. But you have been a part of this amazing franchise, and we can talk about what's happening in the future with the franchise. Le Chiffre is probably one of the smartest, hardest to deal with villains in the James Bond universe. Can you tell us a little bit about how you were approached and what that triggered in you, and what you thought about when they offered you the part?
First, I might not put a label on him being the smartest man. When you lose $150 million to a man who can't play poker, you're not that smart, right? But what went through my mind? I knew that Bond was big. I had never watched a Bond film at that point. Obviously, I lied when I had the meeting with people.
Wait, they asked you if you had
no, they were
James
going
Bond.
through other films, like, and I was just, I love that, and it was just like, I was always waiting. Can we talk about the guys with the metal teeth, because I knew about him. So that was the first kind of meeting, and then they gave me a script, and that was my very first script with my name on every page, which is like, this is how they do it today. So if you lose it, it's yours. It's your script, and you're to blame, right? I got it. I got on the plane. I started reading it. I fell asleep. I got out the plane, and I forgot the script. And it was in there, and they wouldn't let me in again. It was like, come on, I'm just going to go in and get my stuff. No way. So I was just lucky there, because some cleaning person just threw it out and didn't look at it. So I was like, whoa, thank God.
Is this the first time that you've told this story? Because
no, I think I've said it before, but it's just never seeped out. Or maybe I was not so articulate that day. So yeah, that could have been the end of my career right there, at least in Hollywood. It was fantastic, but it was enormous. I didn't realize how big it was until we had the premiere, and that was in London, in Leicester Square, and there was 50,000 people there. And we had to meet the Queen, or she had to meet us. So it was just, then it dawned on me, this is something, this is big. But once you're doing it, you don't think like that. You can't run around with a fanboy hat on and go, whoa, this is great. You got to be in the room, and it is your room. Yeah.
Did you feel the pressure because it's such a beloved franchise that?
No, because I haven't seen them, and I mean, it was a film.
Have you seen any of the James Bond movies since?
I have seen them all now.
Okay, let's talk about them.
I have watched a lot of them. Let's put it that way. I've seen everything with Daniel Craig. No, the pressure was not there because I think predominantly because the pressure was enormous on Daniel. Daniel was the new Bond, and of course those are the crown jewels of England. Everything was wrong with him. His height, his nose, his hair, everything. So I was like, so maybe I should just take it easy now, because he's taking all the pressure here. And I think he was glad that I came from the same background as him. It's like we came from indie films, so he had a partner in crime there. And we could tell right away that we were not used to this, because I don't know if you've seen the film. There's a scene where I torture him with a rope.
I remember that scene, yeah.
I tickle his balls with a rope. And when we were talking about this scene with the director, me and Daniel got so many great ideas, and we were going back and forth, and then and then this happened, and we can do this, and then the director looked at us and said, "Guys, come back. It's a Bond film." So I think he was pleased that there was one more from that background with him. Yeah.
You just said the pressure was on Daniel Craig. Just a quick glimpse at what lies ahead. Christopher Nolan said that he might direct the next 2 James Bond movies. Do you have any guess who might be the next James Bond? Mads Mikkelsen?
No, I don't think so. If they had an issue with his nose, I'm sure they would have an issue with my accent. So that's not going to happen. And I also died in the other one. So. I don't know. Let's wait and see. I mean, for one, I would have liked to see a Bond film with Daniel and Nolan. That would have been fun to see. Let's see if he comes back. Whoa. The rumor's out. That's just a rumor. I didn't say that.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
As far as I know, he died as well.
Oh, that's true. I have watched all the films.
Yeah. All the ones with Daniel Craig. Mads, you've made the transition, as you've been saying it, from indie movies to big Hollywood productions. I mean, this is not the only one. We saw you in the last Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford. You've been in Fantastic Beasts. You've been in Marvel movies. What does that mean to you? I mean, is that something? Because the great thing about you is you look like you're having so much fun doing what you do, and you don't really care about the size of a project. But does it sometimes dawn on you, in how many amazing franchises you've been a part of. Star Wars. I mean,
Yeah, it does, because it's obviously fun and kind of unique. For an American, it would be quite a franchise list to be on, but for a Danish guy, it's insane to be in there. And one of my friends was actually writing it down on a piece of paper with all the franchises, and then he wrote the last one he wrote. He said, "And this one you haven't done." That was Indiana Jones. And then a week after, I got the phone call. I couldn't wait to text him. Just by the way, bring the list out. Yeah, it's surreal when I think about it. And so I try not to think about it. It is. We have to, it's Indiana Jones. It's Harrison Ford. There he is. We're in a train. He's a legend. But at the same time, it's my train, and I'm gonna kick the shit out of him, right? So you can't take that the other stuff in. You have to be in that situation.
do you have that list? Because I think you should just write all the projects on that list that you want to do, and a week later you get the call.
Oh yeah, no, but I don't know if there are any more franchises. I would like to do a zombie film one day, but it's not a franchise, I guess. And the problem with that is I would like to be one of the zombies, and they tend to die really, really fast.
Oh, a good zombie. You could be.
Oh, a clever zombie?
Yeah, clever zombie.
That doesn't walk into doors?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll do that one.
You just mentioned Indiana Jones, and it was quite interesting. I had the pleasure of hosting the premiere in Berlin, and when Harrison Ford got back up on stage, you could sort of sense that he knew this might be the last time for him to travel around the world promoting a movie, because he's in his late 70s.
He's 80?
He's 80 now. Is there a thought of yourself where you think, okay, there are a couple of things that I still want to achieve as an actor, because you're writing a script at the moment. The Black Kaiser, I think, is something that you're working on. Is that?
Yeah, people are working on it. Yep.
So, are there still goals that you've set in your career that you still want to achieve?
I don't have a tiny little Hamlet in me. It's not like I want to do Hamlet, or I want to work with that guy. I want to make this kind of character. It doesn't work like that for me. I very early on in my career, I decided not to be ambitious on behalf of my career. I didn't want to have a goal with my career, because then everything I was doing was not important. The goal was important. And I thought that was wrong. So I try to make everything that comes my way the most important thing ever, so it doesn't just become a stepping stone. It becomes something, right? And that will eventually become my career, I guess. And but I think that's worked for me, not to focus out there, but to focus here. So did that answer your question? But you talked about Harrison Ford. Yeah, watching him was obviously it was not sad at all. We were there. We were all there when he did his very last scene as Indiana Jones, and it was and he wanted, the humble man he is, he wanted to get out of the room as fast as possible when everybody was standing there clapping. At the same time, he wanted to stay there forever and embrace the moment, right? So yes, it was beautiful. It was not sad at all. Yeah.
You just said that you live in the moment. You don't have ambitious goals, but I guess with the status of your career and with your standing in the business, that you receive a lot of scripts. How do you go about choosing? What does a script need to have, or a character that you say, okay, this is going to be my next project. I'm going to do something more indie. I'm going to do something more Danish. I'm going to do a Hollywood production. How do you go about choosing the characters and the scripts?
Don't know. One thing is obviously Indiana Jones. It's like, you want to be in an Indiana Jones film next to Harrison Ford? Nah, I'm not in. Yeah, of course. So that's one reason to do a film. But predominantly, it's the story, it's the characters, not the one character, but it's all the characters. If it touches me somehow, and I might have a lot of questions, and I don't like that, and what is this all about? But if it touches me, that's a very good start. And then you talk with the writer/director, and you take it from there. But it has to touch you somehow. Pique your curiosity or touch you.
You started out as a gymnast and a dancer. What touched you to do Pusher back in the days? Was that something that crossed your path by accident? Was it something that you really wanted to do?
What touched me, I was in drama school, and so Nicolas was doing Pusher. Nicolas Winding Refn was doing Pusher, and he was looking for people who were not actors. He didn't like actors at all. He wanted everyone to be from the street, from the crime environment, and so forth. And then the producer said, you got to have at least 2 or 3 actors. That you have to. And then he didn't like anyone. And then they said, okay, so have a look at this guy. That was me. He's in this school, and nobody understands a word of what he's saying. So I had a real fast street language, and he didn't understand jack shit of what I said, but he loved it. So he gave me the part. So we took it from there. What was that all about? It was just. I think my generation, and that comes from all the directors and all the filmmakers, writers, and the actors, we had been waiting forever to see Danish films that were like the ones we loved in either America or Europe. For me, it was Taxi Driver. For somebody else, it was Indiana Jones. For somebody else, it would be Godfather, whatever. But that kind of energy was just not existing at all in Danish films. And all of a sudden, this guy came along and said, let's do a street film. We'll throw the camera on the shoulder and we'll go for it. And everybody was like, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. So that was a no-brainer. I mean, that's what started everything for all of us.
Quick and dirty.
Quick and dirty, yeah.
Mats, you know, as a performer that you've done as a gymnast and as a dancer, in what way would you say does that physically influence the way that you act? I mean, do you think that background helps you to get into certain characters?
I think it does. I don't think it's I don't think it's a negative thing to have that background. It's very hard for me to answer the question because I don't know what I would have been if I wasn't a dancer. I might have done the same thing now. I have no idea. What you can say, I'm aware, physically aware in a scene. I'm also very much aware of the tempo of a character. Is he fast? Is he slow? Is he heavy? Is he light? And so that is maybe the dancing part of me. But then what comes in really handy is the gymnast part when you do stunts. That's just really good. I mean, you're either a martial artist when you're a stunt guy, they come from that background, or a gymnast. And a gymnast is the coolest thing to be. And I was lucky, I was not the best gymnast in the world. So the ones who was ranking out of top 10 in Denmark, we had a lot of time on our hands to just jump around and do stunts. So we did a ton of stunts as kids, right? So that comes in really handy when you're an actor.
Is that something that you look at when you choose a character?
If they're doing
the
stunts?
Physicality, if they do stunts. I mean, it's
why is she not doing any stunts? I don't want to do this film.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind it. I was over the moon when I got the Doctor Strange thing because I didn't read it, but he said so. There's some. So it's a Marvel film, cool, and there's some flying kung fu in it. I'm on. I got it. Yeah, let's go. I mean, I wanted to be Bruce Lee when I was a kid, so that was a no-brainer as well.
Flying kung fu is
That's
always nice.
flying kung fu.
That would trigger me as well if someone would offer that part. I would like to talk about a movie I think that everyone loves as well. Is Another Round.
Yeah.
An amazing movie. Thomas Vinterberg, he's a dear friend of yours, and I remember the story around the movie, especially with his. Exactly. Let's not talk about that. But
I can't talk about it. I've tried it a couple of times. I can't. I break down.
Another Round, and you just mentioned it. The way that Danish movies are shot, the storyline, the humor that comes with it, even though it has difficult topics, you know, alcoholism in Another Round, or the way that that people treat each other. What do you think defines Danish movies from the start? When you did Pusher, as you've been saying it, they just put a camera on their shoulders, to now in the standing.
I think it's the same thing. There was like different groups making different films right in that period, and then the dogma rules came out, placed Denmark on the map as well. But I think what they had in common was that it was the same generation. For the first time ever, it was the same generation making the film. Until then, we'd been used to somebody who was 80 years old telling some 15-year-old kid how it is to be 15-year-old, right? Which is weird. So that was the same generation who understood where they came from, where they wanted to go, and they collaborated. They worked together. Like no hierarchy, just work. And later on, all of a sudden we could invite the other generations in as well, because obviously our little bubble became too small, and we realized how great some of these actors and directors were as well. So that was good. But we had to define ourselves as a unit in the beginning. And I think that has been the key to the Danish film success. That is, and is still riding on that wave. And now the next generation is doing the same. I think it's a healthy environment. Yeah.
What does it mean to you, talking about the healthy environment, and especially the group and the trust that you have within the Danish film community, that The Promised Land is another contender for the Academy Awards that you are in? I mean, you've been in a couple of them. Does that mean, is that something that's special to you and to your craft and to what you want to achieve in the future?
The Oscars?
No, just to see that the Danish movies that you are part of, you know, one of the most highly acclaimed.
We are so proud of Danish films that are traveling. We probably 20 years ago were used to Danes watching Danish films. That was it. And now they travel. Now we're here. Some of them went to America. Some of them are sold to Germany, France, Japan. And that's just, that's what you want when you make art. You want people to see it. It's still a small language, and people have to, survive reading the subtext. But we come a long way. People have their eyes on Danish films, and it's super gratifying.
And they're great movies.
They are, a lot of them are.
And now we have time, if you're ready to... Oh! Yeah. Okay,
yes. That was a fast one.
That was a fast one, and I think you will get a microphone right there from the lady on the right-hand side. That was quick.
Hello, I'm from Germany, and my husband and I are really great fans from you and your wife.
And my wife?
Yeah, and your wife.
Why?
I have a handwritten card.
I love her as well.
You're so sweet couple, and I have a card for you both. But my question, or for my husband and me, is what is your secret for a happy marriage? Because you look so lucky and happy together.
Well, every morning at 8 o'clock, listen, the secret is to love each other. It's as simple as that, and then you will get through a lot of things if you love each other. And but I'm not a specialist here.
Okay.
I just love her. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Is it okay I wait next to your bodyguards so they can check me out? I'm safe to give you the card.
Sure.
And
yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Was
Thank
ist
you
das
very
denn für eine
much.
Karte?
For his and his wife.
Okay.
Handwritten.
Don't freak out.
And I hope I can give you the card.
Vielen Dank.
Wunderbar.
Thank you very
Vielen Dank.
much.
Thank you. Dann machen wir mal weiter mit der nächsten Frage. Da oben steht, wir kommen gleich nochmal darüber, da oben der Herr im weißen T-Shirt.
Der Herr im weißen T-Shirt.
Ja, genau.
Da.
The gentleman with the white shirt. Ja?
Ja,
ich mache das extra, dass du ganz viel laufen musst. Tut mir leid. Kannst dich gleich schon mal auf die linke Seite orientieren. Wir haben nur ein Mikrofon, deswegen macht das ein bisschen schwierig.
But maybe we can hear you like that. Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, we can hear each other. And I can repeat the question. Okay, go ahead. Shoot.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mikkelsen. Mr. Mikkelsen.
Close
I hope you enjoy your stay in Zurich.
Yeah.
My question is, what was the last movie that made you cry?
That he was in or that he watched?
He watched.
That's the problem. The last movie I actually watched was this one. And it did make me cry because of one little girl who's in the film, and you'll see why. Yeah. Suspense.
Wir haben eine Frage, question from the lady with the red shirt right there. Yeah. There's a microphone behind you.
Thank God, thank you. You said in the very beginning that there's a bit of you in every character you do. Does it sometimes go the other way around, like Dr. Lecter cooks? Do you ever sort of do a project and then think, oh, I should take one or two things of that character into my life afterwards?
Not him. Listen, I loved being with Dr. Lecter for 3 years. The thing about the whole, taking it with you back home, I was touching upon it a little bit, is that I have to I have to be smarter than my character, in the sense that I have to see his weaknesses that he doesn't see. You know, we all looking in the mirror, and we're not seeing the same thing as the guy next to us seeing. And this is what makes us human and gives us flaws. So if I had to play Einstein, I would have to be smarter than him. Not when it comes to astrophysics, but looking at him. You know, where is he? Where should he go right, but he keeps going left? That has to be my starting point. When that's said, Dr. Lecter, there's no way you can put yourself in the shoes of a man who enjoys pain. He sees the beauty in pain. He sees the beauty on the threshold where life is on the threshold to death, right? It's very, very, very difficult to put yourself in those shoes. So what you can do, which I do, is that you take something else that you find beautiful in your world, and that's what you replace it with. So I can be as joyful, as poetic around eating people as he is. But I just swap it out with something else.
Mads, talking about characters, portraying characters, I was approached by a fan, and she was wondering if there was
yours?
Sorry?
A fan of yours?
No, a fan of yours.
Okay.
I don't
That's
have
what I was
fans, a
getting
fan
at.
of yours. And she was wondering if there was a biopic about Klaus Kinski, if you would portray him.
Wow. Klaus Kinski, Jesus. Isn't there a documentary, or isn't that the Werner Herzog film is almost
My
there,
liebster
right?
Feind, yeah,
Oh
my best.
I think that's a handful, dude. I think, no. I think there are other actors who can do that and will nail it much better than I. I mean, I would probably somehow glide it into something a little different and find a different way. But if you want to see somebody, you know, copy him, there will be other actors who are really good at that. It won't be me.
He's a mix of Lecter and Einstein, I think.
I don't know. He's a mix of a lot of things.
Of a lot of things, I know. The lady right here in the first row, and we're trying to get everyone to ask a question. Und du auch? Willst du auch eine Frage stellen? Ja? Guck mal, dann machen wir einmal ganz kurz das Mikrofon bitte an die Dame hier vorne in Rot und der junge Mann hier vorne in der dritten Reihe. Willst du eine Frage stellen oder wolltest du nur winken? Ja, dann
Frage in Deutsch.
Stell eine Frage. Du hast das Hausrecht.
Did I enjoy working with Daniel Craig? Yes, it was a very fun part of my life, and I enjoyed that he took my money because I knew what I was going to do to him with a rope later on. So yes, he's a fantastic nice person, and he's a brilliant actor. So that was a keeper. Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Yes, hello, Mads. Well, we have one thing in common. I'm from Denmark, too.
Hi.
But I'm going to ask the question in English. You seem like a very grounded and down-to-earth person.
It's the chair. It's the oil.
Probably the chair, too. My question is, given all the fame that you have achieved so far, what has been the biggest challenge that has come with such a big fame?
Few things is a challenge when you get famous. Denmark was how can I say this? When I started becoming an actor and I wanted to be an actor, I think we were just having dreams about making something that was interesting for us. So the whole fame part was not really in the equation. I understand it is very different today that people want to be famous for anything, and I get it to a degree, but it wasn't really on my radar when it happened. Then one day I did a TV show that came, instead of like people coming to the movie theater and watch you came home to them in their living room, and it was completely different. The world was different for me. Since then I couldn't buy a pack of cigarettes, a normal pack anymore. It was either, here's your cigarettes, sir, or it would be, take your fucking cigarettes and get out of my shop. It's like, there was never a neutral pack of cigarettes anymore. Those days were over, and there was no turning back. And that's the way it is. I have a strange, but it's a very nice gene. I realize now I have a way of forgetting that I'm famous every time I step out my door. I completely forget it. I go out, get in my car, I go down to the construction thing and buy myself some screws and something, and then somebody wants a photo, and I realize, oh yeah, that's me. Yeah, I got it. So, but I don't go out. And I think it's a healthy approach. I don't go out the door feeling paranoid. I never do that, and I think it's good. I'm pleased that I have that gene.
And that's why we love you. Question from the lady over there in the corner.
Hello, Mads.
Hello.
I'm Ondine. I'm working for a media in the French part of Switzerland, as you can hear.
Voilà.
And I'm a big fan of Drunk, and especially the final scene. I think it's the most marvelous final scene I've never seen. And I have just perhaps 2 questions. How many takes did you do, and did you really fall in the water? At the end, I hope I won't spoil anyone. But
So, the film has a dance scene in the end. I think we worked on that scene for 2 days. There was a lot of things that had to. I mean, that's kind of unusual for a Danish film, but a lot of things were happening. There was a scene, and there's a meeting, and then the dance. So it was like we were doing it like chronologically, but we always ended up there. I don't know how many times we did it. We did it way too many times for my body. I was too old for that shit, you know. And it was on cobblestones, but it was quite euphoric. And I did jump in the water. I mean, I did 3 or 4 times where I jumped out, leaped out, and it was quite high up, smashing into the water. We didn't use that, but fair enough. I think it's a beautiful ending. The funny thing about that scene was that I was fighting against that scene the entire film. I did not like it. I hated it. And I am a very stubborn man. And Thomas tried to explain me to why it was there. And I was like, yeah, I get it. Listen, we can do it if it's a dream, if it's a heightened sequence, if he's drunk. And then that's what he sees himself doing. But I just couldn't imagine that a realistic film, a man would just get up and dance. And then finally, when he tried everything and he told me everything, why, he just said, listen, could you shut the fuck up and just do it? And then he was right, and I was completely wrong. So I'm glad that he was more stubborn than I was.
thank you.
We unfortunately have only time for 2 more questions. Gentleman with the white T-shirt, and then we try to, the lady over there with the glasses, Da oben einmal, ja genau, da in der Mitte einmal aufstehen, einfach ganz laut schreien. Nein, nee, der Herr mit dem weißen T-Shirt. Entschuldige.
Hi. Everything has been a little coincidentally for me, in the sense that I didn't dream of being an actor at all as a kid. I never dreamt of being a dancer at all. I've never seen anyone dance except for Gene Kelly, which I loved, but it was not on my mind at all. It's just I was watching films like everybody else. I was just watching them, and I wanted to be him. I didn't want to be the actor. I wanted to be Bruce Lee. I want to be that guy, identifying with the character. So there was nothing in me that even dreamt about it. And if I had been dreaming about it, I'm sure I would have thought that it was something that went in generations. It was a family thing. I mean, I didn't even know there was a school for that, right? So through gymnastic, somebody wanted some acrobats in the background in a musical, and I was picked, and there was a few dance steps there, and then the choreographer asked me if I wanted to learn the craft because I kind of had a good flair for it, and I had nothing to do, nothing else to do. I just finished school, and I wasn't good. I wasn't too focused. Let's put it that way. I said, yeah, why not? I mean, and I did the math. There was a lot of women and no boys. I was like, yeah, I'll do that for a while. And it was kind of a Billy Elliot story because I was a working class kid and I couldn't tell my friends what I was doing for a while. And once they did the math as well, a few of them tried to become dancers as well, but they didn't succeed. So through that, I loved jumping and spinning and doing all the tricky, funny stuff as a dancer, but I was very much in love with the drama of dancing. That was just something I instinctively loved, when there was something dramatic in the dance. And that wasn't always the case. Often it was something aesthetic, right? and it became more and more boring, and I was more and more fascinated with the drama. And eventually, after a few musicals I was in, I looked at the actors and say, why don't I try drama full time? Because that's what I love about dancing. So that was the transition, and then I applied for a school.
Last question from the lady right here with the glasses, exactly.
Hello.
There's a microphone coming if you want to use it, otherwise you can just shout.
Hi Mads, I'm from China, and actually I'm a really big fan of Hideo Kojima and Death Stranding.
Yeah.
And Clifford Unger is a really charming character,
Thank you.
Yeah. So my question is, what do you feel of making a game with him? Or, I mean, it must be a very different way than making a film. So what do you feel about it?
Well, Hideo Kojima, for those who don't know it, he's the godfather of games, I guess. I mean, the long-term games that takes 50, 60, 80 hours to go through the story. That was interesting. There was a story, there were scenes, and he was trying to pitch me the entire story, and it was just like, I had no idea where this was going, right? And I was standing there with Norman Reedus, and he looked empty as well. We were like, what is this? So we took scene by scene, and we made little scenes together. And I would have felt like a complete idiot if I had been alone, because I was dressed in a tight green suit with dots on my face and a camera on my head. And I was like, I'm an idiot. I'm a complete idiot. And then I looked at Norman, and he had the same on. I was like, yeah, it's good. We're fine. I'm not alone in the world. So it was weird and fun. And Hideo was just, normally when an actor do something and they want to, go, let's do it again. I want to do it one more. I have an idea here, right? And Hideo was like, why? We got it. So what do you mean? Oh, yeah, we realized that he would do the animatic later. He could make us do whatever, right? So we didn't need to do it again. It was a wonderful experience, and he's a fantastic, brilliant man to work with.
Cool. Do you mind I send this small astronaut?
A small astronaut for me?
Yes.
Send it up the lines here.
Okay.
Can you bring it up? Thank you so much for the astronaut. All right, here she comes.
Another present. Dear film lovers and dear audience, we're so sorry, but Mads needs to go to his next appointment at the Zurich Film Festival.
Astronaut.
Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for your questions. Big round of applause for the great, the amazing Mads Mikkelsen.